fitness success, the 4 pillars of achievement. Each week, I alone or with a guest will break down a specific pillar to help you build a balanced, sustainable fitness routine. Week 1, Pillar 1, nutrition habits. Master your nutrition and fuel your body for success. Week 2 is all about Pillar 2, stress management, practical strategies for managing life's inevitable stressors. Week 3, Pillar 3, physical activity, tips to stay active and energized no matter your fitness level. And then week 4, we got Pillar 4, recovery measures. Recovery is key. Learn the best ways to rest, recharge, and avoid burnout both in and out of the gym. This is the first Monday of the month, so our focus today will be on Pillar 1, nutrition habits. Master your nutrition and fuel your body for success. My guest today, he's not your average athlete. He's been to rock bottom and sprinted his way back up, one brutal rep at a time. We go way back, and I've seen firsthand how far he's come, from struggling to standing tall to standing on podiums. You're about to meet a man who turned pain into purpose and sweat into success. Let's dive in with Spartan racer, DECA champ, and full-time game changer, Richy Pasuy. Check this out. Today's guest, he didn't just climb the mountain, he Spartan sprinted over it, barefoot, with blood in his shoe. No joke. We'll get to that. I've known this man since the days of Cooley High, Lynn Classical High School. Back then, we were just trying to figure life out. Now, he's figuring out how to beat gravity. Please welcome Spartan racer, DECA champ, Murph monster, the man who lost 100 pounds and found purpose in the pain. My guy, Mr. Richy Pasuy. What's up, Rich?
How's everybody doing? Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for showing up, man. Thanks for coming here. So let's start at the beginning, Richy. Let's start at the beginning. I'm going to pull out this picture here and let's see. Let's do it like this. Let me rearrange our things here. Get live. Here we go. That way. All right. So what was the moment you said, that's it, I'm done feeling this way? When did your transformation really begin?
I would say I was that size, and I woke up one morning. I put my feet on the ground, and there was excruciating pain. Inflammation in my feet, my ankles hurt, my knees hurt, my back hurt, my neck hurt. No exaggeration. Went to the doctors. They told me I had an enlarged liver. Came home, sat on the couch, and just started praying like something's got to happen here. So randomly, I received a phone call from my nephew, who never calls me. He always texts me. It was a phone call. I answered it because I thought it was an emergency. And he says to me, hey, I'm going to send you this picture. And when I send you this picture, know that I dropped 70 pounds eating this food. It was a picture of steaks. It was a picture of bacon. It was just ketogenic foods. And he told me about a book called The Ketogenic Diet for Beginners. Started reading it, and everything started to change.
Interesting. And I have a picture here too, because I think you have some inspiration, I believe. Yes. Yeah. There we go. Tell us about that.
So this is my mother. My mother had a lot of health issues, and towards the end of her life, rest in peace, she started having these conversations with me about nutrition and health and how difficult it is to get healthy. And we just, together, we couldn't figure out what were the keys, so to say, to being successful as far as losing weight. And I remember having this conversation with her, and she was the most inspiring person in my life because she just wouldn't give up. She refused. She just kept trying throughout her whole life. And I learned that from her, watching her just never give up. And when she was diagnosed with cancer, and which I didn't know at the time, she knew, but she didn't want to, so to say, hurt us with that. So it was very difficult having that. It was that picture, that last conversation about health and nutrition and realizing the importance of it in that moment was what propelled me through this whole thing.
Wow, that's awesome. Talk about a motivator, internal
Yeah,
motivation, right?
yeah, yeah.
I
Never
kind
ending.
I kind of see why you can't turn it off. I
No,
mean,
no, no.
so when you saw the pictures of like the steak and bacon, all that, were you thinking he was crazy? Have you ever heard of keto before that?
It was a small conversation that I had with his parents, and his mom is also a Spartan, and we were touching a little bit on racing and nutrition, and his dad also knows all about nutrition. They owned a gym for many years. So I touched on it with them for literally probably a 10-minute conversation, maybe like 6 months before that, and then randomly got that picture from him. And it was pretty insane because I thought he was playing a prank on me. I was like, there's no way you could eat those type of foods. There's no way you could have some carbs and lose weight. Like, I was like, get out of here. Like, it's impossible. But I want to touch very importantly, because I wanted to say this. You put out a video one time that basically said something along those lines, like you can have carbs. Like it's not the enemy, you know? And I remember you saying something along the lines of, don't be afraid to get professional help. And that happened. That happened. These sources had so much information. And going back to that picture of me and my mom, I didn't have that information. So once I got that professional help, I sat down with a nutritionist. I sat down with those two family members who have a wealth of information. I started watching your videos. I came across Jeff Moulton, and I just absorbed. I was very good at it. I got to say this. I absorbed the information from your page and other pages and realized all these things really work. You just need to apply it, and you got to stick to it.
Yeah, consistency. That's right.
Yeah.
Big time. No, that's awesome. I'm glad that you found that and it changed your life. I mean, that's huge. People in the audience, I mean, if you're watching this and you've ever had your own I gotta change moment, drop a fire in the comments. Let's go. Let's go. Richy, you fired us up, man. You fired us up.
Thank you.
This is freaking awesome. So I'm going to show your 1 year after keto picture here. Let me get situated. So you lost 100 pounds in 1 year. You know, that's not dedication. That's not just dedication. That's a complete life shift, like we were talking, right? So what role did nutrition play for you? Was keto the key for you, or was it something deeper?
So it started out with keto because I wanted to focus more on my nutrition portion of it, because I knew, okay, I could get on a treadmill, I can go for a walk, I can lift some weights, but my problem area was nutrition. So eating the right foods was the big thing for me. And once I had that down packed for like 3 months and I started losing weight, I believe it was, if I recall correctly, it was either 32 pounds or 37 pounds in like a little shy of 3 months. And then I realized I have something here. I got my nutrition down. It's really working. So that's when I stepped on a treadmill and I came across the Boston Virtual Marathon, and I started looking into that. And I was like, okay, so I got this nutrition down locked. I can't lose that. I have to stay consistent with it. I can't break away from that. That is the most important thing, because I know that I'm strong. I know I have great endurance. I know that. I'm just overweight because I can't lock down my nutrition. So I'd say that was the biggest key, and getting into the ketogenic diet was an amazing start. And I stayed on that ketogenic diet. I'd like to say this, throughout that whole entire year, strict keto, strict. And that's how I got the 100 pounds down.
Awesome. Nice. So really what I'm hearing is you knew that consistency was the key, and that nutrition, being consistent in nutrition was your bottleneck, if you will, your constraint. And you focused on that, and here we go.
I like to correct myself very quickly.
Sure.
There were three, because some people like to have cheat days. There were, during that year, I had 3 cheat treats. I call them cheat treats because it was a single treat. It was during a birthday and I believe a celebration for something where I had a small piece of cake, thin slice, but that was it.
Knocked you right out of ketosis, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, let me tell you, after having that slice, instant regret. I was all over that. I was like, all right, now it's time to run a half marathon. Now it's time to get back on the diet, strict keto. Like it was instant. Like every time I did that, the next day, like even if I go back and look at my stats through Garmin, it's insane. Like what I did the next day, I'm like, how did I even have the strength to do that? It was insane. Like literally a trail half marathon, and then I would hit the gym for like 2-3 hours.
It was those carbs, man.
Yeah. Yeah, the carbs had me like at an all-time high of energy.
You're like a kid in a candy store after, bouncing off the walls.
Yeah.
So at what point did you realize food isn't just food? Food is actually like fuel.
So there was 2 times. I would say around that 3rd month, food is the fuel. And I was like, okay, so it's propelling me to do this type of stuff. There's a difference in my performance. So I went from simply walking 35 minutes walking to, oh my God, I'm running for an hour.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was like, once I had like tweaked it the right way, my nutrition was coming in the right way. Like, okay, like mile 1, okay, this much nutrition, mile 2, this much nutrition. And I had to tweak to where now there's such a difference, because now it's like, okay, this is the second portion of what I learned. That's very important to me. With Jeff Moulton, have the nutrition prior to your tank being empty. So instead of mile 4 for me, mile 4, I have it at mile 3. Instead of mile 8, I have it mile 7. Instead of mile 13 to 15, I'll have it mile 12. So the nutrition intake has to come before your tank's on empty when it comes to competitive racing. But for my everyday eating, it's always on point, because as you know, by my social media, everybody who follows me from the beginning to now, I put in a lot of work at the gym. And in order to do that, I have to eat right, or everything, excuse my language, but there's no other way to put it. I'm going to say it. It goes to shit.
Hey, we keep it real here, man. This is keeping it real.
Yeah.
Let's keep it real. Yeah. And by keeping it real too, I believe there's another side of the coin that helps out with performance in a big way. And I believe that's recovery.
Oh, huge. That was difficult for me to learn. That was a hard lesson. And I'm pretty stubborn, because my background in MMA, I had to go through very extremely tough trainings. So what happened was I never really had recovery time, because they were big 8-hour sessions. And then when I come home, I was on empty, like tanked out, dropped to the floor, like arms hurting, legs hurting from being like wrapped up. And it was just crazy. So I knew, okay, I got to channel my inner beast to keep plugging through like this, the way they want me to, because it's a different style training without much recovery time, because it was every day, sometimes early morning, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and then you're going all night. And then you're arriving home and you're so tanked out, you fall asleep. Where's your recovery at? In your sleep. People don't realize the importance of good rest for recovery. There's a lot of things like mobility. There's a lot of like mobility training, yoga, foam roller, massage gun. These are all nice little jewels that we need to recover, but they don't understand. A lot of people don't understand, should I say, that food also helps with the recovery. What you eat, because if you're eating crap, you're going to be inflamed. So you're not going to properly recover. And then you're not going to show up to your training session and then your sensei is going to be yelling in your face.
Exactly.
So it's important.
So yeah, I mean, nutrition, recovery, just as important. You can't, if you don't recover, you can't really move so much, especially not at your peak performance anyway. Because let's be honest, some people are still out here eating like the prequel to that Diddy dessert dream you had. We'll get to that too, though. We'll get to that too. You in the audience, if you've ever tried keto or failed hilariously, drop an avocado in the chat. Drop an avocado in the chat. You should be able to. Isn't that appropriate, Rich? You should be able to find that emoticon in there. Yeah, drop an avocado if you ever tried keto or you failed hilariously. Let me know.
Yeah.
So
my mom always told me to eat avocados, and I never listened. The minute I started eating avocados, oh my God, my life changed. I was like, so good.
Oh, on a side note, let's give a nugget. I'm gonna give a nugget out. So listen, I finally found this out. I want to say about 8-10 months ago about avocados, right? You buy them and they ripen awfully quick, or they don't ripen too quick, but then they like their shelf life is like just junk, right?
Yeah.
They don't last very long. Like you need to eat that at the right time, right? So when the avocado gets to like the perfect like ripeness, it's like ready to go. If you're not ready and you want it to last another like 7 to 10 days, believe it or not, take the avocado, right? Don't cut it or anything like that. Just the whole avocado, put it in a Tupperware container and submerge it in water and put the cover on and keep it in the refrigerator. That'll keep your avocados good for another 7 to 10 days.
Where were you 6 years ago?
I told you 8-10 months ago, I just found this out, going down the rabbit hole scrolling.
You know how many rotten avocados I've eaten?
Right. Oh yeah, let me tell you. I won't even go back in the days when I was pressed for money and whatnot, eating not so good chicken, but we won't go there. I never got sick though. But anyway, yeah, the avocados, man, that's all you got to do. Wait till they're ripe, put them in a Tupperware container, submerge them in water, put the cover on, put them in the fridge. You're good for another 7 to 10 days.
Amazing. I got to try that. I got a rotten avocado in there. Maybe I can bring it back to life.
You can't reverse it. You don't let them go too far, because then, and don't put them in when they're not ripe yet, because they ain't going to ripen. The whole thing is they don't get oxidized because there's no oxygen. Yeah, there's oxygen in the water, but avocados don't got gills. So, Anyhow, so let's move on. Let's talk about discipline and mindset a little bit more. So I got this picture here, Rich, right? I know you know what this picture is, but the audience, wrong one. The audience should know what that picture is. I got this picture. This picture, all right, so this right before the 6 broken toes, 6 broken toes, blood pouring out of your shoe, and you still came back the next day to finish the sprint. What drives that mindset, Rich? That's nuts.
So that's a wild picture, because that's like one of those pictures that, just looking at it, I remember the excruciating pain that I went through. So I was running the super, and they have this obstacle called the inverted wall, and I believe it was mile 4, and I jumped up. I was running too fast. I jumped up, slammed into the wall, and when I slammed into the wall, I just heard cracks. And I'm hanging off the wall, because I got, believe it or not, a lot of people think my leg strength is where it's at. I got great upper body strength, so I hung from the wall for a good while, pulled myself over, and still completed the obstacle, because I refused to do burpees. Completed it, and when I landed on the other side, I screamed so loud because I knew something was wrong. So I took a couple steps over to the side, dropped in the grass, and I assessed the situation. Within seconds, I noticed, like, okay, you're touching it and there's like red everywhere. So I'm like, oh no. So I assumed I got a cut. So I said, all right, get up and just finish. So I just plugged through the rest of the race. All the other obstacles, in excruciating pain. I avoid to answer your question properly, I avoid pain in a sense where I act like it's not even happening. I refuse to believe it's happening to me. I get a weird kind of like out of body experience when it happens. They call that the pain cave. Trail runners call that the pain cave. So when you're in the pain cave, the obstacle is to get out of the cave and see daylight again and just keep going. Because once you're past that point of pain and everything's numb, it feels like it never happened. But this pain never went away. This pain stayed through the whole process. And I was like, all right, just keep going. So I got to the finish line, and the race director from Spartan at the time, I want to say her name was Ellie, I could be wrong, came over to me. She said, hey, what's going on with your feet? You're limping. And then she looked down and she was like, oh my God, you're bleeding. And then she yelled medic. I said, no, I'm good. So this was after completing that race. So the weird thing, because a lot of people don't know, I worked the shift for the Spartan, which was an 8-hour shift, raced, that happened, arrived home, stuffed my face with carbs, fell asleep, showered, fell asleep, woke up 3 a.m., went back to the event site, and when I arrived, the whole staff was there, was yelling, no way. There's no way you're here. There's no way. You're racing today? I said, I'm working today and racing. They were like, there's no way. They were like freaking out. So before I started that race, they all lined up clapping. And when I was at the finishing of the race, I think the most memorable moment of that whole thing is I'm limping through the race, and I left this out. I duct taped my toes together because my pinky toe was going right. One toe was going that way. One toe, I just duct taped them together and threw on my shoes and went there. So the weird thing was being in that mind state where, okay, it's not happening right now. Like, it allows me the nothing can stop me mentality. It allows me that. So blocking that pain out, blocking that sense of, okay, this is something to do with your nerves. Like right now it's going up your leg, the pain, just ignoring that allows me to keep continuing the race. And as I reached the finish line, the race director was running with me yelling, you got this, you can do it. And when I jumped the fire, that picture, when I jumped the fire and landed, I screamed. They assumed because I was screaming because I was pumped. I screamed because the excruciating pain that came over my body, it literally shot up to my brain. And I crossed the finish line and I was getting hugs from everybody. It was such an amazing feeling because they all knew. Everybody's like, what's going on? Like, what's going on? They all knew the day before, like the blood was leaking out of my sneakers, my Ultras, which is a special sneaker that contains your foot, but it has a wide toe box. So it allowed me to do that without that much pain, because it has a wide toe box.
Yeah, you didn't have that contact of that material pushing down on you. Yeah,
exactly.
But still, geez, most people quit when Netflix buffers. you push through 11 hours of no quit.
Yeah.
I think I have an idea of where that comes from now. Geez.
Yeah.
Wow. So basically, you turn your pain, you turn the pain off in your brain until that last moment where it went right up your leg to your brain. And that was
literally. Yeah.
Oh, give me bad goosebumps. Oh, I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
So after those broken toes, man, let's lighten up a little bit. Let's talk about this, right? So you had what might be the most legendary nightmare I've ever heard. a sushi table. The chef yells, "Dubai chocolate." Then an oiled up Diddy pops out like a Men's Health cover model from hell. What? Be real. What haunts you more, the nightmare itself or the smell of the goat neck chocolate? What's up with that?
I have because sleeping, when I sleep, I fall into deep sleeps and then it shoots up and I get these crazy dreams all the time. And they're hilarious. I wake up laughing. Michelle thinks I'm crazy because I wake up laughing, like hysterically. Right? But like I'll have a dream like I'll be riding a giraffe next to a dinosaur. Like these dreams are crazy. So that was one dream that just came around the corner after watching the Diddy trial, and I was like, "No, Diddy, no!"
Tell us
no.
the dream. Tell the people that haven't heard the dream yet. We're kind of talking like an inside joke now. Go ahead.
So it was like I was looking down in on it, which is differently. It's different than being in a dream. Like if you get what I'm saying, like watching the dream. So I'm sitting there, and my worst nightmare is eating sushi again. One day I had sushi, and it was the worst experience of my life. Like literally, not only did I eat it, didn't like it, I choked on the sushi. I was at a restaurant, and it was my first. The whole staff is like, "Oh, he likes it," and I'm sitting there dying, like I'm choking right now. So it was the worst experience. So sushi is a horror in itself, you know. And then the other thing, I'm watching the Diddy trial, and then the next thing you know, in that same dream, I have a dream where Diddy peekaboo, like pop that, like what? So it's like two of the worst things that could possibly happen in one dream that night. Like, why?
What's up with the Dubai chocolate, man?
Dubai chocolate, and it's crazy. That's the third thing. Like, I tried Dubai chocolate, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me.
I haven't tried it yet.
Please don't. Please don't try it. Like, dude, the hype about that, I understand it's based on opinion. Some people love it. I say the majority of the people I know love it. My family all loves it. But I tasted that, and all right, let's keep it real. Like you say, it tasted like shit. Like literal. Like, have you ever tasted shit before? I think I have. Dubai chocolate. Like, literally. It must have came out of the anus of a friggin' elephant and just landed in my mouth. Like, it was the grossest thing ever. But
I definitely don't want to try it.
No, oh my God. It is so bad. But I guess the majority of the world loves the taste of shit. Like,
weird.
Dubai chocolate. Who would have thought?
Wow. I just saw it on the shelf the other day after reading about that, and after your dream or whatever. I'm like, wow, it does exist.
Yeah.
So, viewers, what's your weirdest dream? Bonus points if there's dessert or Diddy involved. Let us know. Let us know in the comments. All right, so let's move on. So let's bring it back to something powerful. All right, you said Michelle, the woman you love,
yes,
looked at you after the weight loss and said, "You know what's crazy? I didn't even see it." How'd that hit you?
It was kind of a wild moment. It's one of my most memorable moments during this whole entire process, because not only did I feel that huge amount of love, I knew our relationship was just forever. From day one, I knew that, but this was the game changer for me. It was like, okay, I know now, like, she will stick with me through the worst, through the best. It does not matter, because for her to say she didn't see that, and if you bring up the picture, like, a lot of people don't even, there's the picture, like, it was literally, I was that size, and she said, I didn't even see it. Like, I didn't even realize you were that big. Like, so it's so wild to me that she has that amount of love for me, to where it just meant nothing that I was well over 300 pounds, sick, feeling like crap every day, and she stuck with me through it, and she's still by my side today, showing me all the love that a man could get. Like, I'm so blessed to have a partner like that, where she is by my side through something like that. Because let's be real, like you say, keep it real. Let's be real. A lot of guys will get that size, and it will create complications in the relationships, especially when we know the flip side of things, where a woman goes to work and there's a shredded dude there, or a woman goes out with her friends and there's good looking guys there, and then she comes home to that. But yeah, I've been blessed in another way also, where I never tested her loyalty. I just knew she had loyalty. Vice versa. That's why I stay loyal. And I believe that is the most valuable thing you could have in life. The most valuable thing, not just in a relationship, but in a friendship and in a brotherhood and camaraderie, like in all those things. Loyalty is the biggest key to your success. If you're loyal to somebody and somebody is loyal to you, I've had situations where people would say negative things behind my back to somebody else. And because that person is loyal to me, they'll say, hey, just so you know, this person said this. I don't want to get involved, but I think you should stay away from them. They don't have your best interest in mind.
Right.
They're very jealous of you. And I'm sure you deal with that a lot too, being a handsome guy. You know what I mean? God
Thanks,
bless
Rich.
you. God bless you
Rich.
like an angel. Like you glow. When you walk around, you're glowing. Like I know you deal with that all the time, wherever you go. Like it's hard to gauge like honesty and trust and loyalty and those types of things and respect. It's hard to gauge it for what it is because we have that humbleness about us. We have that kindness, that peacefulness, that joy. And sometimes we're blinded to somebody treating us bad. So I'm very blessed, back to what we were talking about. I'm very blessed to have somebody so loyal to the point where it's flawless.
That is awesome, man. I am happy for you for that. Not everybody gets to experience that at all. That's huge.
No.
That is huge.
Yeah.
Hold on to that. You know, does it feel like the world sees you differently now? I mean, probably, obviously, and more importantly, do you see yourself differently?
It's funny. I just recently, that's a good question. That's a very good question. I just recently had two conversations, separate conversations. One was something that happened to me at Trader Joe's. I walked in and I believe I was picking up sweet potato fries because I was going to do your recipe for sweet potato fries. Everybody log in, follow, because you'll get some good recipes. I'm telling you.
Awesome.
So I was like, okay, I already have the garlic. I already have this, that. I just need the sweet potato. As I'm reaching down for it, I feel somebody staring at me. So I turn to my left. It's all the cashiers, all the people in line just staring at me. So I was kind of like taken back. So I went, hi. They all start laughing. They all start cracking up laughing. And I believe it's an energy thing. It's like a good vibe. Like, you know who has a good vibe. You can read into it. You see it for what it is. So I put off that good vibe because as I'm going to grab the sweet potato fries, I got the biggest smile on my face. Like, oh yeah, it's on now. I'm having some sweet potato fries. Jay Harris's recipe. It's on. It's on. So I knew I was in a happy moment, and they must have felt that. They must have felt that in that moment. The separate conversation was I had with somebody at the gym. I can't recall who. Shout out to everybody at the gym. Same. They know what that means. So what it is I was having a conversation with somebody, and they said something along the lines of, do you feel different? I said, in my mind, I'm still that big guy. I think that also helps me continue to train like this because it allows me to never be satisfied. And I know that I can continue to progress and get better every day versus being complacent and it all go to shit. Next thing you know, a year, 2 years down the line, having issues again. So for 6 years being consistent, I always have it in my mind and I always have that picture. You might notice everybody who follows me on social media, I post that picture a lot. That is my reminder. The picture of me being well over 300 pounds reminds me every single day, never quit. And the question that started it all was, what happens if you just refuse to quit? What happens if you never quit? And that's where I was at with that mindset in that moment. And it propelled me to this point.
It's powerful. It's powerful.
Yeah.
It's something I ask prospects that come to me too, as part of the question, like, you know, what will happen if you don't do anything? And then that actually gets them to actually really like dig in and think about it for real, because they don't usually think about it. I love, let's stick with the gym, right? So I love that gym story where your buddy hyped your legs, right? And then random folks came up and asked, how to get like you. And you actually stopped what you were doing to help. Why was that moment important for you?
It's my form of giving back. I think what happens is with a lot of people, I mean, I'll say it like it is, they get big headed. They forget where they came from. They forget the learning process that it took them, that things that they didn't know and they had to learn, that they could help other people do the same thing. So when they came up, my buddy, my gym bro came up and he's like, hey man, he's like, your legs look massive today. I just had to say it. And then two other people were creeping. He said, look at that. That is insane. Look at that. And in that same day, it's just all good vibes in my gym. It's like the Lynn YMCA is like one of the best places ever. Growing up in Lynn alone, people are like that. You know what I mean? We get a bad rap, but the truth is people are like that. They got good vibes in the city. A lot of people focus on negative, and that's their problem. It's not our city's problem.
Yeah, well, I'm on the South Shore, man. Same thing growing up in Lynn too. I tell people down here I'm from Lynn. I'm like, don't hold it against me.
Yeah, it's true.
Right?
It's true. Yeah. So in that moment, I knew, okay, you could either just take a compliment and keep riding with it and do your workout, or you could help change somebody's life. So I took those two guys, there was two guys, and I said, okay, this machine, and this machine. And I explained repetitions, different methods for muscle gain, high repetition, shred up. Like I explained all that to them. And I realized as I'm talking to these two guys and my gym buddy, they had no clue. They went in just like I did years and years and years ago without a clue. And I wished in that moment that somebody would take me under their wing. And I got blessed with my sensei Bruce, my sensei Jamie, and I lucked out with my brother, knows them. And they all picked me up from a depressing mind state and said, oh no, and lifted me up and saved me, literally saved me, because I was so sick, so overweight that I was going to constant doctor's appointment. It was at the point where I was trying to keep it to myself, and my family were saying, hey, what's going on? Why are you always at the doctor's? Like, what's going on? And finally, I had somebody step in and help me. And to pay it forward in memory of what they did for me, I do it for other people now.
Oh, that's tight. You remember the days when your legs looked like two pillowcases filled with mashed potatoes, I hear.
Yeah.
That really stuck with me, man. That was real. That was real.
Yeah, I got to be honest, man. I got to be honest. My legs were so fat. I mean, literally, your legs are fat when you're walking and they wiggle for no reason. Or for the wrong reason. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'll touch a little bit on that, just a little bit on that for context. My daughter was going to college, looking at colleges, and I didn't realize how big campuses are. So I was so overweight, I was last in the pack everywhere. They would arrive to the building. I would arrive to the building 2-3 minutes later, drenched in sweat, every building, because I didn't realize it would end up being like 2 miles of walking. And I was so out of shape. My legs were so heavy that it was literally like carrying a bag of cinder blocks. Right? Like my body was just, and it was hot. And it was like, if I recall, it was probably like 89 degrees. So I was the only person there, the only person sweating, the only person way overweight. And I said, this will never happen again. And I told my daughter that it will never happen again. And I promised her it, and it won't. It won't. I'm so focused on my health and my nutrition that it will never happen again.
Like I said, man, you got some intrinsic motivation. Big time.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You got the discipline too, though. You don't even need the motivation. You got the discipline. So you're all set. Yeah. Ain't nothing happening to you. I wanted to show this picture here, and I want you to explain it too. So you're DECA champ, first place, and you're heading to Vermont with Team Clarendon. And you just randomly submitted a video for a free race contest and won. What's going on? Talk to us. Tell me about the the DECA first place here, and then about that free contest that you won as well.
It's interesting because I've always heard people say consistency is probably the most important thing. If you want results, you got to be consistent. And I just have that never quit mentality. And for years, it took me 6 years to get to this point where I walked up to the station after the event and said, "Can you check to see what place I'm in?" And the girl said, "No problem." She types it up in the computer. I got to add, I was completely disoriented. This was right after the event. So I just finished up, walked over, disoriented. She turns and said, "You're first place. You got first place." And I was supposed to stay for podiums. I was so disoriented that I just walked out, sat in my car for a while. I knew I needed more nutrition, so I took in a banana, half a bagel, and just took something in, because at the end of the DECA, it's so draining. A lot of people don't know this about DECA Strong and DECA Fit, that it's so hard to do. I dropped to the ground and I had blood in my mouth. And when I said to the referee, "My blood is filling my mouth," and I swallowed, she said, "Oh, that happens." And I guess that's the thing. That's the thing. Because it's so intense and so fast. You're going from station to station so fast, nonstop. I guess it's a thing from hyperventilating that blood just fills in your mouth.
Interesting.
But I was laying on my back, so it started filling in my mouth, literally. And I was like, "Oh my God, I got to stand up." You know? So once I stood up, it stopped. Disoriented, went over. She announced that. Everybody looked at me like, "What is going on? Who is this guy?" And started taking pictures, because it was my first time doing it, and nobody really knew me there but a couple people who did the Beast in Vermont. And they're like, "What?" Everybody's like, "What? Who's this guy? Like, what? What is going on?" And I'm like, "I'm from Lynn," and I left. Like I
representing.
Yeah, that was it.
Love it.
So we got touching a little bit on Vermont. We got the Vermont Beast coming out. I entered a contest randomly. This was the craziest situation ever. It was, I believe, yesterday. I went to the gym, regular morning, training hard. I'm lifting 100-pound dumbbells, training with those. I film myself randomly with the stand, which I don't normally do all the time, once in a while. Filmed it. Put down the 100-pound dumbbells, arrive home, shower, change, eat something, go on social media, click on a link, which led me to OCR Kings. Very popular YouTube, millions of views, absolutely some of the most known Spartans on there. And as I'm in the link, I'm reading it, they become official ambassadors for Spartan. And I'm like, "Oh, that's wild." And then it says in there, there's a contest to win a free Spartan race of your choosing. You must pick your Spartan race, and I picked Vermont Beast. So I entered it in, and I just shot in that video of me with the 100-pound dumbbells. Didn't think about it. Next thing you know, later that night, ping, I get an email. I open the email. I'm like, "Hun," I'm sitting next to Michelle. I'm like, "This is the OCR Kings email. Like, what is going on?" So I start reading it, and they're like, "You won and this and that, blah, blah." I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, this can't be happening. So, I mean, a lot of people don't realize some of these races can run up to $250. You know what I mean? And then that's not including the little fees and things that you have to pay for here and there. You want to get you don't have to, but you might want to get some of the merch from the actual event because it's cheaper there. So for example, if you're doing Vermont, you want a Vermont hoodie or a Vermont shirt. It says it on there with the year. It's a memory that you'll have with you. And then people know, other Spartans know that you're a Vermont Beast. They'll know that, so it's a wild thing. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, this really can't be happening. So today I arrive home, And I'm thinking about how amazing that is. I locked in my race for Vermont, and literally, I got to say this, probably like 5 minutes before I got that email, I sent a message to Team Clarendon saying, hey, just so you know, I'm locking in Vermont next week. And then I won that contest. I locked it in the same night. And like, I arrived home today. It's so wild. I arrived home today and I received another email ping from them. And they're like, hey, we just made an announcement on our page and put your video on our page. I'm like,
no way. That's like, great.
I logged in their YouTube and there I am on the screen. I'm like, there's no way this is really happening. It's so insane. There's such good guys, good spirited, good show. Like, amazing people. They've run ultras, they've run trifectas. These guys are the real deal. And it's such a blessing to know people like you, people like Robert from the New England Expo. Like, there's so many good things happening right now in my life. I recognize blessings for what they are, and I appreciate it all.
Hey, well, like you said earlier, Rich, man, positive people attract other positive people, man. It's contagious. Hey, so
yes,
let's keep this going.
It's a real thing.
That's right. That's the cheat code, one of the cheat codes to life.
Yeah.
So, and now you're training for the Spartan Ultra. You know, what keeps you chasing? Well, I think I know the answer to that question. What keeps you chasing the next level? But tell us about the Spartan Ultra. What's that all about? That's got to be nuts. Ultra's in it, so.
Yeah. I mean, it ends up, it's about 32 to 38 miles, mountain in some cases, but this one I'm doing is in Texas, so it's going to be a lot less elevation, should I say, a lot less elevation. So it'll end up being like in the range of 38 miles. They put more miles when there's less elevation, so it'll end up being like 38 miles, 60 to 68 obstacles, and it's the most brutal race that you could ever run. A lot of people do not finish it, whether it's injury or nutrition is not staying down. That could be an issue. There's a lot of issues that could come up. I've trained specifically for these types of situations popping up. So my training grounds are in Lynn Woods, and I train with the nutrition so that I could properly fine tune it for that type of mileage and know when to take it. Again, another shout out, Jeff Moulton tweaked my nutrition, and that was a contest I won with him at the New England Expo, OCR Expo, and he's tweaking my nutrition here and there to make sure that nothing goes wrong as far as nutrition. So my concern is the mileage. I just need to have what's called on feet time. So I gotta definitely run long runs, and I have a time bracket where I'm allotting myself 3 months of hardcore running because I have the strength, I have the mobility, I have the agility. I just need to be able to do about 40 miles without stopping, like easy.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
easy.
So I'll be living. Yeah, I know, huh? It's kind of wild because, believe it or not, as you know, tweaking your nutrition the right way, and if you have proper nutrition, you feel differently with performance.
Yeah.
You have peak performance. So once my nutrition was tweaked and a couple things happened there, I ran recently, it was New Jersey Beast. And by the end of it, which normally after a beast, you feel horrible. Like your body's shutting down. Like it's the worst feeling in the world. But literally, I jumped around and said, wait a second, I feel amazing. Like, this is crazy. Every single mountain I annihilated. Every obstacle I annihilated. And I knew I have something special here. It's the nutrition what changes the game. Mm-hmm. And that's why people need to follow pages like yours so they can understand immediately when they tweak those minor things and they hit a gym. It's endless. It's endless. You'll feel great every day. And that's what it's all about, feeling amazing every single day.
That's what I'm trying to tell these entrepreneurs and real estate professionals out there, man. Close more deals and get more done. Like that. Go ahead.
On that note, shout out to PD Properties. All my family on my daughter's husband's side, boyfriend's side, excuse me. they're all amazing. George Dimas, good guy, works very hard. He's a realtor. Shout out to him.
Awesome. Awesome. Rich, how are your toes now, man?
Ugly.
Like the recovery part of it? I've been meaning to ask you, what did they recover fully? Like, what's the deal? Is one still going that way and that way? Did you take the duct tape off,
Oh, that was the most painful thing ever. That was crazy. But it's funny because I learned very young. I can't remember who taught me this, but if you take like a piece of wood and you adjust the broken bone for a toe and just tape it, it'll bring it back to position. So they're all aligned. My feet don't hurt or anything, but they're hideous. They're all beaten. They look like they were smashed with a hammer. Like, I have an amazing beard, but I have ugly feet. Like,
yeah, hammer time. Remember Boomerang? Remember that movie Boomerang? I'm aging myself too. That's a throwback. Oh my.
Yeah, I lost. Unfortunately, I lost 6 toenails. Yeah, at that time because they literally just came right out. They were broken and like shattered, and they all grew back. I mean, they look decent for a guy who had 6 broken toes.
There you go. As long as they're not falling off, you still got it, man. You got your balance still. You're straight. You're still racing, so you're good.
Yeah.
So, Rich, you didn't just drop good vibes. You dropped truth, sweat, a lot of sweat and some blood, too, in your mouth, and probably a few mashed potato memories, right? You are living proof that mindset, movement, and mastering your meals can completely change your life.
Yes.
To everyone watching, if you're waiting for the perfect time to start, let today be your day one. You can follow Richy's journey, whether he's training with UFC legends. Matter of fact, let me bring that picture up. You could tell me about that real quick. Let's see. Yeah. That's Pat you and Pat Miletich, right?
Yeah. Humble beginnings with the close range combat out here in Massachusetts. And let me tell you, they put me through the worst brutal sessions I've ever been through in my life. There's nothing like that. And then I lined up with a couple guys from New Hampshire, and they introduced me to Pat Miletich, 5-time UFC champion Pat Miletich, and we trained with him. And let me tell you, it was brutal in so many ways. Where I got to say, the worst part about it was we had this kicking session where we were doing leg kicks, and the guy they lined me up with, and I'm not exaggerating, the guy they lined me up with was about 6'4", 370 pounds. Yeah. So he was the last guy to get lined up with somebody, and I was the last guy to get lined up with somebody, and it was me and him. So his kicks were brutal, and because he was so tall, sometimes when those leg kicks were coming, this guy was trained by Pat Miletich, and he's there and he's coaching everybody, and his kicks were so high because he was so tall. I was getting rib kicks at some points. So I kept telling him, like, lower him down. So by the end of it, like, everybody's throwing up, everybody's covered in sweat. And I changed my shirt, ran back in because I was like, oh my God, disoriented again. I got this thing. After I do an event or something like that, I gotta go. I'm from Lynn. Peace. I'm out. Like I got this thing. I don't know why I do it. I get disoriented and Lynn. Like, so I run. I'm like, oh man, I never got a picture with Pat Miletich. Like, so I run back in and we're all talking, and the senseis there all know me, and they're like, this guy is hilarious. He's such a good guy. And then Pat, this is Pat Miletich. I'm being introduced. And in that moment, he was like, let's get a picture together.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So that's where that picture came from.
Yeah.
All right. So do you have anything else that you would like to add to the audience at all before we take off?
I believe one of the most important questions that ever came into my life was, what happens if you never quit? I had that moment 6 years ago, and it has absolutely changed my life. I'm going to be honest, it's not easy. It takes a lot of studying, a lot of research, but most of all, what happens if you continue to do that, you stay consistent, and you refuse to quit? I like to shout out my family. The support of my family has been so amazing through this whole process. I mean, I drive them crazy with the amount of Spartan talk. It's never ending. We could be talking about something else and I'll get into Spartan. I thank them so much for supporting me through this whole journey. It's been amazing. Shout out to Acme Choppers, now Acme Bikes in New Hampshire, Lakes Region Tick Control. The owners of the two companies are my brother-in-laws. They have been supportive. I like to show them support in the same way by mentioning them here. And PD Properties, George Dimas, reach out to him if you're looking for a house or you just need some advice or you just want to chop it up as to a game plan how to get into a house. He knows a lot. The kid is the real thing. And I like to take a moment to thank you, Jay, for having me on your podcast. You're an amazing person. It's an honor even talking with you. I know you're the GOAT when it comes to nutrition. I appreciate every single post you do. I absorb that information. I will continue following your journey on your side. It's amazing what you've done for so many people. I'm one of those people. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody, Aru!
Thank you, Rich. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I appreciate having you on, and thank you for coming on, actually, really. So follow Richie's journey, whether he's breaking some more toes or dodging dessert demons with P. Diddy in his dreams, just know he ain't stopping anytime soon.
Nope.
This is Rich. Thank you, Rich. I appreciate you, man.
Bye, everybody. Much love.
Now that you can hear me, now that I'm not muted, shout out to Brian and to Eddie for shout out to those comments. Sorry I didn't put them up there. It was pre-recorded last week on Friday. So, but look out for Richie next week. We're going to pre-record next week, and he'll be on Monday next week as well. So look out for that. Richie's awesome, man. Richie's story reminds us that growth doesn't happen in comfort. It actually happens in the commitment. He didn't just change his body. He rebuilt his life from the inside out. So if you've been waiting for a sign to start your own comeback, consider this it. You don't need perfect conditions, just a reason, a choice, and the will to do, to keep it simple, keep it moving, and above all else, keep it real, especially when it comes to your fitness. That wraps up today's Fitness Success segment. Look for Rich, like I said, to be back on next week. Next Monday is week 2. So we'll be discussing Pillar 2, stress management, practical strategies for managing life's inevitable stressors. Want to join the conversation as a guest or have your questions featured on the next episode? Just drop a comment below. And yes, even if you are watching the replay, let us know and we'll make it happen. That's right, Eddie, man. I don't know anyone else who works harder than Richie. Richie's no joke.